Important note, this episode was recorded on September 4th, 2023. Stuff may or may not have been different since then. Enjoy. Hello guys, this is R597 here, back with another episode of Richie's Thoughts. I know I haven't done one in a long time, but stuff came up, life got busy, the usual shit. So here I am with another episode, and we got 3 topics to talk about here today. In today's episode, we're gonna be talking about the Rayman DLC, which, just to give an important disclaimer, guys, as of this recording on September 4th, I have not played the DLC, so I don't know what is happening. I don't know what's going on. I mean, obviously, I do know that Rayman's in it. Those 2 rabbits are in it. I do know like some of the abilities that you can use as Rayman in the thing and whatever, but I don't know like the story of the DLC in the sense of the ending and past beyond what we've seen in the trailer. So I'm just giving you guys a fair warning that I do not know stuff like that, and I will not be spoiling such stuff on the episode because I don't know. Also, if you guys end up seeing some images misplaced in the slideshow that you see here, that will be fixed because right now I just wanted to put this layout together, and I will try to make a more proper one as the episodes go on. I don't know when that will be, but I will attempt to do so soon. Like I'll probably reach out to somebody and make a professional one for me. So if you see images like that out of place, I apologize, but it's just a variety of shit. But anyways, but yeah, let's just get on with the episode. First of all, again, my name is R3097. I'm a content creator here on YouTube. I also stream on Twitch, which I will be streaming this week actually to play none other than the Rayman DLC. So I cannot wait to play it. I'm also part of the Pokepod whenever I get a chance to get on because normally the sessions usually happen during work, so I unfortunately can't make most of the episodes like I used to back then. But I'm a member of a proud community that the Pokepod resides. And yeah, I'm just a regular dude. Nothing too special, nothing too fancy. Okay, speaking of Rayman, that'll be our first topic. Because I have brought up, I think, this before in the last episode, but if I didn't, this will be the first time I bring up regarding the DLC. So, first of all, it is exciting to see Rayman coming back after 10 years, basically, if I remember correctly, because I think Legends came out in 2013. Yeah, Legends came out in 2013. It would have came out earlier, but delays kept happening, and then Legends eventually came out, I think, 2013. Let me double check on the sources I have here to double confirm that real quick. Yeah, so August 29th, 2013, which was actually a few days ago. So yeah, 10 years ago that Rayman last appeared in a mainline game. And granted, technically the DLC is not technically a mainline game by any means, but it's still an actual appearance by Rayman that goes beyond like a cameo. Not just like, oh, he's there for like 5 or 10 seconds behind some sort of fucking background video. This is actually Rayman in the flesh where you can actually play the fucking character. So I couldn't have been any more proud to see Rayman return in the way that he did. And now when I say, in the way that he did, you have to understand that some video game character returns are sometimes mishandled in terms of what made the character good, what made the character lovable by the fans. Like, there have been some radical attempts before, not in the sense of Rayman, but in the sense of other characters or other shows, where you bring it back after so many years, and then people watch it, and then they're just like, wait, this isn't what we loved about it. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, there are many examples of it. I mean, you're talking about the Powerpuff Girls. Did I even say that right? Powerpuff Girls. There we go. But yeah, Powerpuff Girls Live. People hated that, and people were looking forward to it too because it featured, those 3. But then when they saw it, they're like, "Yeah, this is shit. This is not what we signed up for." And there's like, I can bring up many examples, but we'd be here all day. But anyways, let's just get to the point. So first of all, let's just start from the beginning as far as like design and stuff, because I want to give my general opinion on how Rayman looks and then give some sort of fight I have on the DLC. Which again is going to be a little bit difficult because again I have not played the DLC at all yet, so it's going to be hard for me to offer comment about like if the DLC itself is really good, if it's bad, is it faithful, is it not faithful? But what I can tell you for a fact, based on the character design and based on what we've seen publicly from the developers for the game, including Mr. David's last name I cannot pronounce, I'll just call him Mr. David. But I'm sure that for those of you that have followed this DLC development very closely, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyways, so Mr. David and his team, first of all, they done a phenomenal job of like of like really bringing back Rayman in the most faithful way possible. Like first of all, when you look at his design, Rayman looks exactly how you expect it to look. He kind of still has like the origins and legends charismatic in the sense that he still looks like he could be super goofy, little out of control. But you could tell that they're also going for the Rayman that most people would resonate and love with. Not to suggest that Origins and Legends design was dog shit by any means, but you could tell that a lot of people were missing more so the heroic, matured, controlled Rayman. From like Rayman 2 and Rayman 3. So we got both of them here, actually. We got the best of both worlds where you can still see the charismatic goofiness to some degree of, Origins and Legends into the design, but you can also still see the same charismatic hero that's poised and confident in these images and videos that you might have seen of the DLC if you haven't already played it already. Like this image is perfect, for example. Like it shows like the heroic stance and poise that Rayman has and people know and love him for. And I think they did an excellent job of really morphing the goofiness, like I said, the craziness with that heroic personality. I think that in itself is great character design because they're able to pretty much handle the old school Rayman fans and pretty much the new ones that came along the way after seeing, how Origins and Legends did so well in like their sales. Though technically I think Legends kind of faltered a little bit, but I don't think it was really. I think there was like other factors to it that may have led to that underperformance, but I do think Legends still was relatively a good game. But maybe the sales numbers did not go as high as they wanted it to. But anyways, so yeah, as far as the design is concerned, I have no problems with the design whatsoever, other than maybe minor adjustments to the size of the head and hand a little bit to where they look a little bit more proportionally equal. But other than that, I thought the design was very well done, and I really had no complaints about it. In all honesty, and then when you talk about like how they incorporated Rayman into the DLC, again, it's kind of going to be hard to comment on because that would require me to understand and know like what's going on in the DLC in order for me to really comment on it. But but basically, from what we can tell based on the trailers, what we could tell from like the screenshots of the game that don't show a whole lot, I am very pleased, to say the least, that Rayman it was in the right hands for this DLC. I know some people are just like, oh well, the rabbits are still stealing his his thunder and shit in the DLC, and it's like you can probably make that argument, but at the same time here, Rayman still gets equal spotlight here, if not a little bit more. I mean, hell, literally, he's in the main title of the DLC, and he's essentially the main star of like the DLC of this certain DLC. So I don't know if I would really necessarily agree with the notion that he took a backseat to the rabbits in this one because that was I guess apparently the comment said by some people here and there. But to me, I don't really see it that way. I see it as at most equal sharing. But I do think that Rayman has definitely, in all honesty, better footing in this entire thing rather than before in the Rayman Rabbids games, where slowly but surely the rabbits really took over the spotlight from him. Here, I don't see the same thing here because I feel like the developers really wanted Rayman to really have his own equal footing and really be the star of it, which, from what I've heard so far, that seems to be the case. Not only just because of the fact that his design is faithfully, returned, but also the characteristics and that people love about Rayman is still like fully fleshed out, and people very much so enjoy it because it's not radical. It doesn't attempt to be different. It attempts to, and it worked, or yeah, it works successfully. Of what you know, of why people loved Rayman in the first place. So again, I know it's a broken record when I say this, but I really did fell in love with the fact that they were able to combine the characteristics of Rayman's character from Origins and Legends and clash it together with the heroic personality and the calm nature that he had in Rayman 2 and 3, and I guess to some degree Rayman Raven Rabbits. So the fact that they were able to really combine those attributes into this character design and the way that we see it in the trailer is where he does show a good amount of emotion, but not too much to where it's radical, but it still gives you a very expressive character. I think they did an excellent job with that, and you got to give the developers props because I don't think this would have been as successful or of a triumphant return if Rayman wasn't the faithful character in terms of design and personality that they really sought out to do. And the thing you gotta love about the developers real quick is that David and his team did an excellent job, not only in terms of again the design, but they did a fascinating job of really throwing in the references from his other games and being able to like understand and listen to the Rayman fan base when it comes to like what they would expect out of Rayman's character in terms of again design, but also like what he would be able to do, etc., etc. Like they did an excellent job at surveying the feedback, but not also give into it too much because the team needs to be able to come up with their own stuff as well. For example, in the images in the slideshow that you guys saw there, you'll see it coming out when Rayman's holding like the ticket. You'll notice like the background, the yellow color background of the skull in the middle. That's literally the color of the missile from Rayman 2. Like that is literally the same thing. And there's another image. I think it's in the slideshow, but there's another image that has Rayman and the other rabbits. Oh, this one. I don't have like the full size image, but because I just grabbed it real quick. But there's a good amount of references of not only Rayman but the rabbits in that photo that we just saw before this one. So they do a good job of really putting the references in there for you to really figure out. So I'm not sure what else more I can say about the DLC because again I have yet to play it, so it's very hard to give much of a thought. But what I will say in terms of how they've handled Rayman pre DLC, we're gonna call it pre DLC because we have yet to see the gameplay. But based on the fact of what I'm hearing from like the other Rayman fans of the community and some people that have played it, I don't think there'll be any concerns or issues about Rayman moving forward in terms of the DLC. So like I don't expect it to be handled or I don't expect for it to be as handled as badly like some other returns where it was so hyped up and then it turns out it just wasn't it just wasn't handled well at all. So I think it was just a phenomenally excellent. Actually, hold on, let me check something real quick. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. I forgot to turn up the entirety of the fucking thing, so that was a little awkward. But I'm sure you guys still heard me, so it's okay. But it should be fixed now. But anyways, so yeah, so overall, I definitely have a lot of pre DLC before I start playing it. I have a lot of hope for his character. I have a lot of hope for everything that includes Rayman DLC. Like my confidence is up there. I mean, of course, if it turns out to be disappointing, I'll own up to it and be like, hey, I just got overhyped. But the reason why I am a little bit overhyped, to be quite honest, is because from what we've seen of the gameplay revealed to us publicly, based on what the developers have been saying and have been showing us in terms of what they're doing in their approach with the character, and what we've seen from the fans that were able to play it a little bit early, I think there should be no doubt in my mind that Rayman's return in this DLC is handled perfectly, or not perfectly, but handled very, very, very well. And of course, the question comes down to how is this going to translate to a new game? Now, the reception of this DLC is very important for that to happen. Even David even acknowledged this in a reply where he was like, yeah, it depends on the reception of the DLC. Like if this DLC does really good, then there could be serious talk about Rayman having his own game again. And honestly, I think just off of that virtue alone, literally just means, hey, if you guys demand for it and really show us that you want a new Rayman game, we'll literally have that. We'll literally have those conversations. And honestly, I think David and his team are like the perfect people to handle Rayman in this case, because look at the way that they handled with the references, look at the way that they handled the character design, look at the way that they're so receptive to community feedback from, like, you know, from those that really know Rayman inside and out, and how they were able to incorporate those things onto into Rayman and DLC. I just don't know who else can really do it. I just don't know who else can really do it. So I think if there's going to be a new Rayman game, which, by the way, I'm giving it like a 50-50 chance, which before I would have given it way less because, you know, we didn't know if Rayman was going to be ever coming back or not. But with the way that this DLC has been sounding, with the way that the developers been talking about it and the fans, I'm more inclined to believe that we're going to get a new Rayman game within the next 5 years. I'm going to put that on the dot. Put it on the dot that I, R597, on September 4th, 2023, at the time of this recording, we are going to get a new Rayman game within the next 5 years. I don't know what kind of game it will be, but I surely do hope that it's in the same character design, nature, personality, and the care that we're getting in this DLC. Like, if this same Rayman design is in the new game with some minor adjustments, I'm all for it. I think this is like the perfect design that you can go for that compromises for both the characteristics of Origins and Legends, and also with the characteristics of the old school Rayman that people grew up and loved with, you know, with 1 to some degree, Rayman 2, and Rayman 3. So, but yeah, there's really nothing else to say about this topic, so we're going to move on. But again, I am so happy to see Rayman back. I mean, I was super excited seeing Crash Bandicoot come back, and his comeback has been amazing. I know some people are going to be like, oh, well, Rumble's a little bit underwhelming, which it is kind of, but I still enjoy playing the game because it kind of fits what I'm going for. And even if Rumble turns out to be a stinker, that doesn't discredit like the fact that his first 3 games, which was basically Insane Trilogy, came back as a massive success. And then Nitro Fuel came out, and that was really fucking good. And then Crash World's About Time, for as much shit it gets sometimes, it still sold really damn well, and people still love it, still play it to this day. So the only duds that you can really bring up is on the Run, which technically isn't really the game's fault. I think the handling of it from the developer side was a little bit disappointing. And then Rumble, I think Rumble, I'm giving it a pass mainly because it's an attempt to do something new with the Crash Bandicoot franchise. So I give it credit for at least trying and putting it together. And I'm not suggesting the game is shit by any means. Actually, in my opinion, I think Rumble is actually a pretty good game. If you're willing to entertain the thing that it's going for. But if you're not, then it is what it is. But I just don't like when people call the game complete shit just because they don't like the genre. And it's like, well, listen, if you haven't played the game at all, then I don't think you should really call a game shit unless you have played it, or you have at least seen enough of it. But you know, people don't care. So. But yeah, that's it for the Rayman topic. If anything comes up, like if there's any breaking news or something that happens during the episode recording, we'll talk about it and just go from there. Okay, let's go on to the next topic. We're gonna get this one out of the way because this one has been fresh in my mind, mainly because I kind of just picked up on it within the last few weeks. Actually, I think by few weeks, I mean a few days, because I think that's the first time I've seen the article. So let's get right into it. So as you see there on my screen, Toy Story 5. Well, we already know Toy Story 5 has been officially a thing for those of you that haven't really kept up with the with the news of that, or just that in general. So basically, just to give you guys a little history rundown, which isn't very much, but basically, on February 8th of this year, yes, February 8th this year, just for those of you that may have not heard that correctly, during a Q1 earnings call, which is basically like a little investors thing where they say, oh, this franchise did well, this franchise did okay, we're meeting our sales goal, you know, that sort of bullshit that sometimes people listen into just to see if, like, maybe there's like an indirect announcement of like, a game, a movie, a console, etc., etc. But anyways, so along with sequels for Frozen, which I think is, I don't think we really need that, but whatever. Zootopia, which by the way, I think Zootopia getting the sequel is actually underrated. I think that would be great if they followed up with what made Zootopia good in the first place. And Toy Story 5. All three of those franchises got their sequels announced on February 8th, and it's in development from the time it was announced. So I imagine at this point they're probably like halfway in or close to it. I have no idea because we haven't gotten like an actual release date yet for it. So I don't imagine we'll get that anytime soon. On February 8th, Toy Story 5 was confirmed to be in development, and we are going to get back Tim Allen. We are going to get back, Buzz Lightyear. We're going to get back Tom Hanks as Woody. We're going to get back, from what I understand, we are going to get back the same cast that you would expect. So you can expect to see Jesse. You can expect to see Rex. You can expect to see Slinky. You can expect to see the Potato Heads through like a different recast, if I had to guess. Because, unfortunately, Mr. Potato Head's voice actor died before the fourth one even came out. And then, sadly, I think a few years after, Mrs. Potato Head's voice actor passed away as well, which, by the way, may they rest in peace. If I had to guess, they're probably going to go recast. And the reason why I say that is because they've already done the thing with Mr. Potato Head where they went for the archives of unused recording lines for anything in general, like the video games, anime shorts, or whatever. Wait, did I actually say anime shorts? Oh, fuck. But you guys know what I mean. They've already done that approach with Mr. Potato Head. So they probably think it's a little bit redundant to do that with Mrs. Potato Head. So they're just like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just recast both of them, and then let's just see what happens. You can pretty much expect the same main cast to show up as you've seen from the last movie. So that includes some of Bonnie's toys, if I had to guess. Obviously, we would have to see Woody and the gang back again. Possibly Bo Peep. I can't imagine her not being a Toy Story 5 after the way the last one ended. So there's that. Now, you might be thinking that this is the part where I pretty much end the topic and just give the pity acknowledgement that this sequel exists. No, but there's a reason why I'm bringing it up, and this is why this is gonna be like the rank of the episode, where I might lose my mind. So according to the let me see if I can say this right. The Insider, who is basically somebody that's an insider. Let me see. Actually, let me read the YouTube description. It says here, in 2013, Skylar Schuler wanted to share his knowledge of Disney films and the magic behind the scenes, so he created the Instagram account, Disney Film Facts, which, by the way, very good account. I love that account. And the page quickly garnered a following, including myself. Soon after, a Twitter was created, and not long after that, DisneyFilmFacts.com was born. The page has been lucky enough to garner a wonderful following of such amazing Disney and movie fans, as well as being sourced in some of the biggest entertainment sites in the world. In 2018, the page was rebranded to the Diz Insider, and the rest was history. So basically, in other words, this guy started off as like fun facts kind of thing. You know, like how Did You Know Gaming does their videos sometimes with fun facts. And then eventually the person just wanted to peek more into the industry, and then they ended up becoming like a source for a lot of things within the Disney world. So hence the rebrand to the Diz Insider. So this guy, or this person, I don't know if it's a male or female, so I'm gonna have to refer to him as like they or them. So I apologize. Basically this person basically has been successful in their pages, and they became basically like an insider to some of the stuff going on with the Disney movies. So needless to say, they are a very reliable source. So what I'm about to tell you is unfortunately true. No disrespect to the person, of course, but this is just fucking mental. So let's get right into it. According to the Diz Insider, the next step for the Toy Story franchise is taking it back to where it all began. You might be thinking, who the fuck am I talking about? Well, we're talking about no other than Andy. That's right. Andy. That is the person that we are going back to. Now, for those of you that may have not remembered, the last time we saw Andy was literally Toy Story 3, where he essentially gave his toys away to Bonnie, and then he left for college. And then afterwards, we just never saw him again. Now, why are they doing this, first of all? It's already bad enough that they're making a 5th movie, but it's also really... how do I say this word? It's really... fuck. I can't even say the word, so I'll just come up with something else that's easier for my peanut brain to say. But it's just fucking ridiculous that not only did you make a 4th film, which was completely unnecessary, you decided to double down by making a 5th one, and then thinking, oh, let's just bring back Andy. It's like... I just don't know why that's a good idea. I just don't know why they thought it was a good idea. Because let's think about this for a moment. It's like, first of all, the last time that we even saw the toys, and this is talking about Toy Story 4, by the way, Woody staying at the carnival with Bo Peep, because that's what he ended up wanting at the end, and we kind of saw that being hinted throughout the 4th film. He stayed at the carnival with Bo Peep, and the rest of the gang still went with Bonnie went back with Bonnie through the RV. So it's like, why would you not have it focused, if you even have to make this fucking 5th film, why would you not want to have it focused on the Bonnie's toys in the carnival again, unless I don't know, fucking Andy had kids or something after some time, and then they ended up finding Andy, ended up finding Woody at the carnival, and then it starts the plot. Like, I don't know. I just feel like this is a waste of time. I feel like this is nothing more but a money grab at the fact that, there's a lot of presence of nostalgia into the Toy Story franchise. Because here's the way I look at it. I think Toy Story is one of those franchises that you easily grew up with. Now, I know some people can say, "Oh, well, I grew up with this franchise." It's like, but Toy Story itself quite literally grew up with you. Because let's think about it. For Toy Story 1, for most of us that came from that time, we were essentially little fucking kids. We were essentially little kids, and Toy Story 1 just came out during that time. And when I say little kids, I'm referring to like pre-elementary school or some shit, or maybe during that time. Who knows? So you have that. Then Toy Story 2, you become a little bit older, like you're getting into like elementary school or middle school. And then when Toy Story 3 came out, which was like almost like a 10-year gap to some degree, or I think it was around the 10-year gap. Actually, let's take a look real quick, just to really be sure. So Toy Story 2 came out November 24th, 1999, and then Toy Story 3 came out June 18th, 2010. So that means it was about almost 11 years since, basically almost 11-year gap between Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3. So we essentially grew up with the franchise, because by the time the third movie comes out, we're essentially either A, just heading into high school, or essentially going to college, which is synchronized very well with the fact that Andy's going to college. So Toy Story is like one of the very few franchises that people can quite literally say, if they followed it from the beginning, they can literally say, I grew up with the franchise. Because I think that's the whole point of it. I think that was one of the main directions of Toy Story, is that we all eventually have to grow up. I mean, that was one of the fucking dilemmas of the second movie. And I think that in itself was like a seed planted into that franchise that started in 2, went into 3, and to some degree 4, if you want to look at it that way. But what I don't understand is, what is the 5th film going to do any different that the 4th film couldn't accomplish? Because the 3rd film was already perfect as an ending as is. Because let's think about it. Andy is going to college. He leaves behind his toys. The toys get a fresh new start with a brand new owner. And then Andy is moving on to greater things, which in this case is college. So why wouldn't that have been the perfect ending? Like, why wasn't that like the ending that you end your franchise on? I think everybody in the entire world can essentially agree that Toy Story 3 was the pinnacle ending for that franchise. There's nothing else that you need. There was literally nothing else that you could have that you needed to accomplish with the franchise. You could literally just have gone the route that they did right afterwards and start making random shorts. Now, of course, if people want to say, "Oh, well, Bo Peep and stuff," it's like, well, you could still accomplish that by making a short and not make a fucking film, like, or make like a 1 hour special or something. Like, why would you at that point make a full length movie, full well knowing that there is nothing much else to accomplish with the franchise? Like, there's literally not. And Woody leaving and all, still you can accomplish that by not making a full length theatrical film. Like, oh my goodness. But yeah, let's just go on. So, like, I don't know, and also it makes Toy Story 4 and Toy Story 5 essentially, without a doubt, make the emotional goodbye in Toy Story 3 super redundant. It's super redundant because it essentially just makes that ending feel less impactful, which is really unfortunate because Toy Story 3, I think, is the one film of that entire franchise that is going to get shafted the most. Because Toy Story 1 was fine because it essentially started everything, so I think that in itself is okay. Toy Story 2 essentially drove up the stakes a bit, and it got pretty high up to that point. And Toy Story 3 essentially just took all of that and just made the best out of it concerning the events of those two films. And really did a great job of, like, really combining together, like, the stories of those characters and really putting an end to some of the conflicts and putting everyone at peace. And then Toy Story 4 comes up and fucks it all up and decides to make another complicated adventure, which then ends up having Woody leaving the main group. Now, you think at that point that will be it. You're thinking, oh, Woody has left, the toys are going on, both Woody and Buzz say their goodbye to each other. That should be it, right? No, that did not happen. Nope, they are making a fifth film because they're like, fuck it, it's burning us money, so who gives a shit? Let's fucking do it. Well, I give a shit. Why are we making a fifth film? I feel like this is such a bad look onto the industry because why are we giving films to franchises that don't fucking need it? Where story-wise they don't. Plot-wise, I should say, they don't really need it. Like, I can think of another franchise that or two that might actually need it. Toy Story is not one of them. Toy Story, I think, Toy Story to me should have just ended right after fucking 3. And if they wanted to make like fucking shorts randomly at some points, then you could definitely do that. But here, no. I think they should have just ended after 3. I think they should have just been done. They should have just been done. But yeah, I think, like I said, I think having Andy in the thing, I just don't like it personally because it essentially just makes, like I said already, it essentially just makes the ending of Toy Story 3 feel super redundant. And it feels less impactful, which fucking sucks because that ending was actually a tearjerker for a lot of us. So then what you're essentially doing is taking away the impact of it and just being like, haha, Andy's coming back, so that ending means jack shit now. So fuck you. So it's like, like I don't know. And honestly, I know you're probably thinking, well, aren't you gonna guess what the plot could be? I don't know if I want to guess that at all, honestly, because why is this even being made in the first place? Like, I just don't know what you can do. I just don't know. Like, if Toy Story 5 doesn't actually end the entire franchise as it probably fucking should, then I have no hope for any creativity within the world of Hollywood. Like, I don't know. I can't put sentences together because I'm just so fucking out of it of like how they think that this is a good fucking idea. Like I actually don't get it. But yeah, the only thing that we can say for sure, the only thing that we can say for sure is that. Oh wait. Oh, okay, so let's talk about the Andy thing a little bit because apparently I forgot to read this part off, even though it was literally the first thing in my damn notes. But yeah, so basically, according to again the same source I just talked about, the Diz Insider, Woody and Buzz's original owner, as I have written down in the notes here, Woody and Buzz's original owner will be returning to the series as an adult, and the family he's created during his time away from the toys will play an integral role in the film. Okay, so that essentially confirms what a lot of people have really been thinking throughout the years, is that people have always thought that one way or another. Oh wow, that sounds so terrible. Let me try that again. At some point, the toys may or may not return back to Andy. As he's like doing the new family. And it's funny too, because even in Toy Story 3, if you guys remember that scene where they were having like the staff meeting, Woody and Rex were having a little exchange, and then Rex was just like, well, he might have kids or some shit like that. Or Woody said Andy might have kids when they were going up to the attic. So the reference of that being mentioned there, kind of interesting. Still, even if this turns out to be true, which I think it might, because again it's coming from a very reliable insider. Even if the whole part of Andy is in his new family that he's created, which essentially just means that he has kids, even if that ends up being the thing, that still doesn't take away from the fact that this fifth film is essentially very redundant. Like I don't think the fourth one should have even been made, let alone like the fucking fifth. But what I will say, just to give it a benefit of the doubt and not be a complete dickhead, if this is not handled well in the sense of actually ending the fucking franchise and making the story impactful in the way that really culminate, basically, if Toy Story 5 doesn't accumulate everything that made the franchise so endearing, so great, and so heartwarming, from the way Toy Story 1 started with the importance of with the importance of the fact that hey, two different people come from this from two different backgrounds, and they're supposed to work together in like this conflictive English setting, and then they eventually have to work together. Then they realize the importance of friendship and teamwork is what helps you get through the day. That's the lesson of Toy Story 1. And then Toy Story 2, the whole lesson there is, hey, we eventually have to grow up. It's either we stay in the past or we move forward in the future and move on from old habits. I mean, that's essentially what that was. And then the third film is essentially just moving on and not stay stuck, which is a little bit the same as the second one. But the third film is essentially just all... the third film is essentially the same extension as... is the same extension as the second one, I would feel. So, I don't know. To me, it's just... I don't know. I just can't wrap my hand around it. Also, just to revisit the Toy Story 3 main lesson, because I realized I kind of bobbled it. But Toy Story 3 is actually a little bit different than Toy Story 2 now that I think about it, because I'm now just taking a small moment to think about it. Toy Story 3 essentially, again, like I said, like Toy Story 2, where the importance of growing up and stuff. It essentially is the same thing there, but except it adds on the aspect of moving on, because you do have to essentially grow up and move on from things, but because you can't be with it forever. It's just like you can't stick with it forever, unfortunately. Like that's just it is what it is. Like the important lessons of sticking together, the important lessons of moving on, the important lesson of like that thing. So I don't know. But yeah, I'm still not really gonna try and guess the plot of Toy Story 5. I mean, I already gave my guess on like what could happen. Maybe like they end up finding the toys, or like his kids end up finding Woody, and then Woody. If Andy recognizes it's Woody, takes him. Bo Peep wants to rescue him, and then she realizes, shit, I need like the other toys. So she then goes on a journey to find those toys, explains to them what happens, and then Woody from there sees Andy with his new family. He sees like the importance of having family together, and then there's that whole thing. Like I essentially think that's what's going to end up happening. To me, I think Woody's going to get taken by one of Andy's kids that ends up maybe recognizing the toy. Well, not recognizing the toy, but he ends up taking it because just like the same way like that kid near the end of the fourth film ended up finding the lost toy, taking it for herself when she was super lost. I think the same sort of situation, minus the lost kid part, will happen here with Woody, where he gets taken. Bo Peep sees it. Bo Peep is like, oh fuck, let me go save him. Couldn't save him initially. And then she's like, shit, I need the others, but I don't know how to get there. And then she finds clues that leads her to them. So she goes to them, explains what's going on. They're all like, oh shit, what the fuck, we need to go find them. And then during that part, we then see Woody's perspective of like him recognizing it's Andy. Well, not him recognizing right away it's Andy until like he gets to like the place, and then he recognizes, wait a minute, this is like either the same house or like a very similar house, but at a new place. And then he recognizes through there and through some other hints that it's Andy. Then he has an emotional moment on the inside, or it's just like, oh fuck, it's Andy. And then he has like flashbacks, and well, I don't know about flashbacks, but he definitely has like a moment where maybe he feels like this is really meant to be, that he's back with Andy indirectly. And then Andy recognizes that the toy is Woody, and then he's just like, wow, that's fucking Woody. And then they have like a moment and stuff. And then from there, it's like, the toy see like I don't know, and that's why I think it's gonna happen. There definitely is gonna be at least like a good moment or two between like Woody and Andy, and then Buzz in there as well, since they're both gonna be in the film. I can't imagine like this image here. Literally, I can't imagine this moment not happening in the fifth film. Like I just can't imagine that not happening. So, but yeah, let me go ahead and end the Toy Story topic by saying this. I do think that the fifth film is essentially a waste of fucking time, but, and I will say but, if they are able to somehow if they're somehow able to create an ending that ends up being a little bit more satisfying, or something that's, something that's purely definite, because apparently Toy Story 3 wasn't definite enough, considering the fact that the fourth film was made, even though technically I do think that the Toy Story 3 was a perfect ending to the franchise, but not in the sense of dollars. If they create an actual definite ending with Toy Story 5 and really end this fucking franchise for good, then I could sort of forgive it, but I still think overall it's a waste of a fucking film to be working on, when I feel like you should just left it as is with the first film, and just, not even bother. Because again, unfortunately, like I said before, Toy Story 3 is unfortunately the film that is getting shafted the most for this. And it's so fucking sad, because Toy Story 3's lessons, morals, etc. is so fucking good. That's why a lot of people talk about it a lot whenever they refer to the film. But unfortunately, those lessons and shit are going to get fucking shafted by the fact that, the fifth film is essentially them going back to, well, them not going back to Andy officially, but Andy's presence in the film, and the fact that he's created a new family of his own. It's like the lessons of Toy Story 3 just get fucking thrown out the window. So they better make this worth it, and better have like a good, genuine way of ending this fucking franchise with the fifth film. Otherwise, I just don't know what else you could do. So, but yeah, that is pretty much it for the Toy Story topic. If we end up getting more details at some point later on, some substantial information, etc., then we'll talk about it. If a trailer comes out, we'll react to it, that sort of shit. So that's pretty much it for the Toy Story topic. All right, last topic, and you were just seeing it right now. This one, to me, I've always wanted to talk about it, but I just never ended up doing so on stream because I've been busy and I just haven't been streaming a lot. And obviously, from the look at the YouTube channel, I haven't really uploaded video in a while. But I wanted to talk about the direction of Unova. And when I say Unova, I'm talking about, like, because as we've seen already with Scar and Violet, there are some pretty mean hints here and there regarding the Unova remakes, because unfortunately the Pokemon franchise doesn't seem to understand that repetitive remakes take away from the whole point of like the remake. Actually, I don't know if it takes away from the point of the remakes, but it definitely takes away from the fact of the creativitiness, because that essentially just tells me you have nothing more creative power to do other than fucking remakes consistently. Because again, I want to bring this up. The first few remakes that we've ever gotten in Pokemon, those needed to happen. And then afterwards, people just ended up wanting more of it. Like, for example, people really wanted fucking Oras. People got Oras. Underwhelming game. People really wanted the Diamond Pro remakes. We ended up getting BDSP, which ended up being a shit game. But then we essentially got a better Sinnoh game in the form of fucking Legends Arceus. And that wasn't a fucking remake. So you know what? I just don't know why at that point do people not learn their lesson and they're just like, oh, I want Unova remakes. No, why do we want Unova? Why do we want Unova remakes? Why do we need them? We don't need it. It's because especially you stupid fucks are just gonna say, oh, it's underwhelming again or it's not good, even though you guys are literally fucking begging for it. Like, it's so insane. Like, at this point, I would not be surprised if all fucking mainline Pokemon games end up getting remade. Like, if... Like, I don't know. This is so fucking preposterous. It's so ridiculous. So there's been like a topic going on, basically, of like what people would prefer for the direction of Unova. And here are like the main three that people talk about. You have like your Black and White remakes, which I'm already not, I'm not giving my vote to that. You then have people thinking, oh, they could go the direction of Black free and White free, which interesting. And then you have Legends Kyurem, which I'll be completely honest, considering the history of Unova and considering like some of the aspects of that history that we haven't really seen yet in the main games, my vote goes to Legends Kyurem, mainly because I do feel like there is a lot of history of Unova to be explored, and some parts that just haven't really been touched, or even if they have been touched, it just hasn't really been fully explored. Like, we definitely need to see the original dragon, so I think Legends Kyurem would be the best game for that motherfucker to show up in, or even Black free and White free, if that's what they decide what to do. But here's what I would choose in a priority list. I would have Legends Kyurem as like the main priority that they should be working on, or for them to decide on. I would put Legends Kyurem as number 1. I put Black free and White free as number 2, and all the way down to the lowest number possible of any numbers in history, I would then put the Black and White remakes. There is no point in doing the Black and White remakes where you can essentially just do Black free and White free, and essentially still go back to Unova. Go back to Unova. You still see the same goddamn characters. The only difference is that it's not a fucking remake that's like watered down for the younger generation. Now, I know some people might be like, "Oh, well, you have to remember that this franchise is for kids, blah blah blah." Well, listen, you could still do like those first two ideas of Legends Kyurem, and Black free and White free, and still cater to the kids and the adults that still follow the franchise. Because unfortunately, it's kind of leaning towards the first. Because I feel like Pokemon at this point is like a family franchise. It's a franchise that really it's a franchise that really has a strong audience in both groups of adult and kids, but we're essentially just told, oh, well, the kids matter, so it doesn't matter what the adults think. It's like, I can kind of see why they think that, but at the same time, that's super disingenuous to just like disregard one audience group just because it's not what you're going for. Like, to me, if I were Game Freak or Pokemon, I would essentially want to have a balanced approach where we want to listen to, like, what the kids like to see in a Pokemon game, and also what the older audience likes to see in the Pokemon game. And we would do our best, our very best, like no one ever was, to really combine those aspects and to really cater to everyone, but also still put forth the ideas and aspirations of the developers that, want to put their stuff on the table. Like, I don't know. To me, it just feels like there should just be a better approach of that. But yeah. So this one's not going to be too much of a long talk, and I think, as a matter of fact, this is going to be the last topic of the episode. But here's what I'll say. I do think overall that just to think for a moment, that Legends Kyurem should be like the main thing they should be working on, or should be starting development on, because people really loved Legends Arceus. People really did love like the different approach it brought to the battle system, to the character design, to the depths that the story went to the fact that it was like a completely different place, but still retains like a lot of the nature and characteristics of what made Sinnoh great. So in this case, you could definitely do the same with Unova. So that in itself would be one of the perfect ways of going back to Unova, without essentially just remaking the fucking region as exactly as Black 1 and Black 2 did it. Because you also have to think about it now. If you're doing like a full-on fledged remake of Black and White, are you doing it Black 1? Black 2? I mean, Black 1, the original Black and White? Or are you doing it as Black 2 and White 2? Like, what are we doing? Because at that point, to me, if you're going to do that, you might as well just do Black 3 and White 3. But if your goal is to do something different, but also go back to that same region in a way, you do Legends Kyurem. To me, I would not be disappointed if we got Black 3, White 3, as long as it attempts to actually do some different shit and not just be a copy and paste game. So, you know, as long as they can bring like some different shit to the table, some unique stuff, etc., then I would not be disappointed with them doing Black 3, White 3, as long as they can actually do something different and actually, not attempt to be a fucking copy paste. But to me, and I've always said it, Legends Kyurem should be the absolute approach. It should be the most absolute approach of going back to Unova. Because if they don't end up doing that, then I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know what else you could do. But yeah, the last thing I'll say again, Legends Kyurem, number 1. Black 3, White 3, if that's what they even decide to do, you do that as number 2, and then the lowest number possible of rankings, you then do a Black and White remake. I just don't think a Black and White remake makes any sense at this point. You don't need to do it. You can either just do another fucking sequel in the future, which they've shown they can do, or you essentially go back to the region in like an old school fashion like Legends Arceus did, and explore the other aspects of the story of the region, further go into the background story of the Musketeer trio, see the younger Tornadus, Thunderers, Landers, explore more of like the Metaletta. Like there's a lot of things that you can explore with like the other legendaries and mythicals of the region that you can do a Legends Kyurem, and then have like Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem be like the end game of it all. Like that will be perfect. Why in the fuck would they think, oh, let's go copy and paste the same Unova region that we saw in Black and White, and essentially just redo everything, but just done in higher end graphics? That's what fucking BDSP was, and people hated that shit. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, dude. I don't know. But if they literally announce next year, which I think that they're probably going to do, unfortunately, if they end up doing an exact one-to-one remake of Black and White, but just done in higher end graphics, I would be super pissed. Not only because Unova is Unova is like my favorite region, but it just wouldn't make sense at all. Why not just do Legends fucking Kyurem? Why not just do Black 3, White 3? Because at least with those two projects, they will actually move forward in the future. Things can be different. I mean, things will be different. And of course, you can say, oh, with Black 3, White 3, they could do they could be unoriginal and shit, which sure they can. But then at that point, why would you end up making a third sequel? Direct sequel to the region if you're gonna just not do anything different. But to me, again, like I said, and I've already said it before, but Legends Kyurem makes the most logical sense, and I think that's the direction that they should take, because I do think that there's a lot of aspects of the legendaries and mythicals of that region that hasn't really been explored too much. Like you can explore more of Metaletta's lore, definitely more of Tornadus, Thunderers, and Landorus. You could explore more of it, and I know some people may be like, well, they've already done that in some other platforms, but at the same time, I feel like it would just still be a lot better for them to do that, to to really dive fully deep into Legends, where the whole point of Legends is to really explore the region. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I think that's gonna be it for the episode, because I'm not sure what else I can say about the topic of the Unova remakes and what the direction they can take. But again, Legends Kyurem #1, black free, white free, black free, white free. #2, and then the lowest number possible they can never get for ranking, black and white remakes, like the 1-1 remakes that they did with BDSP, which ended up being an absolute travesty. So, but yeah, that's essentially pretty much it for the show, guys. Again, thank you for watching today's episode. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video and would like to see more. Again, just to remind you guys, I also stream on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/artfire97. As of this recording on September 4th, I will be streaming again either Wednesday or Thursday. I was about to say Thursday. Either Wednesday or Friday. And on one of those 2 days, we will be playing a Rayman DLC. And I will give my full thoughts as we're playing throughout that DLC and see what it has to offer. I do have a lot of hopes for that DLC, so I can't wait to play it. So, and yeah, that's essentially pretty much it. And then afterwards, just to give a little announcement, we will actually be playing the first 3 Rayman games on stream at some point. Well, not at the same time, of course, but we're going to start with Rayman 1, make our way to Rayman 2, and then end it off with Rayman 3. That will be the thing after we finish one of the games coming up that we're going to play, or we're just going to play overall, which may either be on either Wednesday or Friday, or even at some point in the weekend. I'm not sure. But when I do start that, guys, you will find that out on my Twitter account, which is rfriday97, on all major platforms, which is Twitter, YouTube, as you're watching it here, Twitch, Facebook, if you have a Facebook, and yeah, that's essentially pretty much it. So, again, guys, thank you so much for watching today's episode. Really means a lot. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's content, like I said. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And as my good old buddy TSS Killer always says, wash your motherfucking hands, and I'll bid you all a good day.